Mr. Vice Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate of the University of Guelph, it is my great privilege to present to you Bonnie Brooks for the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa. Vice Chairman and former CEO and President of Hudson's Bay, Bonnie Brooks is an innovative force in the retail industry in Canada and throughout the world. Prior to joining the Bay, she spent 11 years in Asia with Lane Crawford, where her groundbreaking work brought international brands to China and saw stores open in 9 countries. Under Bonnie Brooks' leadership, the retail chain of Lane Crawford became one of the most respected and admiring shopping experiences on the planet. Her most noted leadership role, however, and challenge came about when she was offered the chance of heading up the Bay. Her vision, imagination, courage, and tenacity helped turn around and grow the flailing retail giant while competitors continue to flounder. Ms. Brooks has been designated among the 100 most creative people in business by Fast Company, and last month was recognized as one of the top 50 power people in Canada by Canadian Business Magazine. A patron of the arts, Bonnie Brooks is involved in numerous charity initiatives. Her work for the Canadian Olympic Foundation has been most notable, raising over $35 million for athletes through the Olympic Mitten Campaign. Ms. Brooks is also a diligent board member, serving on numerous boards, including RioCan, Empire Company, Sobeys, and she is the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Royal Ontario Museum. In 2011, she was recognized by the Volunteers of America, and she was recently appointed by Joe Oliver, the new Canadian Finance Minister, to serve on the Economic Advisory Council of Canada. Ms. Brooks demonstrates how passion, determination, and leadership can lead to inspirational success in business and philanthropy. I now ask you, Mr. Vice Chancellor, to confer upon Bonnie Brooks the degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
By the authority of the Senate of the University of Guelph, I admit you to the degree of Doctor of Laws. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Bonnie will now give the convocation address, please.
What a lovely moment for me. President Vaccarino, Dr. Desmarais, Dean Christensen Hughes, and Dr. Broggs, members of the Board of Governors, faculty, special guests, families, and of course, graduating students. I'm thrilled to be here today and want to thank President Vaccarino and the University of Guelph and the business school that I've come to know better recently and one I'm so very proud to be part of today. I'm also proud of my own personal journey and to have the positions that I hold today at some of Canada's finest companies and institutions. If someone had told me just a few years ago that I would be on the board of Sobeys alongside some of the finest Canadian family members in retail from Nova Scotia, or that I would be the chairman of the Royal Ontario Museum, our largest and most important museum in Canada, in fact, one of the largest encyclopedic museums in the world, I would not have believed that possible. The CEO of the museum actually reports to the trustees, and I'm the chair of the trustees appointed by the Premier of Ontario to oversee the museum. Why me? I don't know anything about curating collections in a museum, but what I do know is how to build a team, how to set objectives, and how to turn the ideas and the vision for the museum's future into a plan that can be executed and turn that vision into reality. Aside from the museum being a surprise and a volunteer assignment, becoming the vice chairman of Hudson's Bay Company is something I would not have predicted for myself either. HBC was started by British royalty with a charter from King Charles II in 1670 and is one of the oldest continually operating companies in the entire world. Working with the team at HBC is not just an honor. I consider it a real privilege because businesses with legacies are unique. They have integrity and authenticity, and that's one of the key reasons I wanted to join Hudson's Bay. I love the heritage, and I saw the potential in its history for its future. Taking that history, that legacy, and making it relevant to today's customer is the challenge that we started a few years ago at HBC, and honestly, I think it will probably never, ever be finished. For me, the pride that comes from working with great Canadian companies is incomparable. So my wish would be that all of the adventurers in this room who have their future in front of them take pride in your work, do it with passion, practice integrity in every deal you make, every day, with everyone you meet. I'm also proud to be Canadian. Canadians are admired around the world, certainly more than many other nations. I experienced this firsthand while living as an expat in the UK and then in Asia for 11 years. I urge you to work in another country to gain a true appreciation for other cultures. And if you do, please remember that we have a great reputation and you must uphold it. And no matter what your role or what job you take, you have an opportunity every day to be a leader because leadership is how you act and what you do every day. I think many of you have learned here at the university to identify leaders. You've seen leaders emerge in your classes, in your teams. The leaders are the ones who demonstrated engagement in their classes and a real interest in learning and in making the most of their time here at this great institution. Working is exactly like going to school. It's tough, and you get out of it what you put into it. Engagement is the key to success, and it doesn't matter what job or role you take when you land a job, because any role provides the opportunity to be a leader. Robin Sharma is a Canadian who wrote a great book called The Leader Who Had No Title. We use that actual book, and Robin himself, who is a very successful motivator, helped us craft our culture shift at Hudson's Bay by using his simple teachings. And as a result of our work with Robin, we all at Hudson's Bay share the same title. My title is really Chief Adventurer, and it's a title that I share with hundreds of people in the company because our real name of our company, the official name of the company, is the Company of Adventurers Trading into Hudson's Bay, aka the Hudson's Bay Company. So we are all Chief Adventurers because in my company, leadership is everyone's opportunity and everyone's responsibility. So the premise is that anyone in any job at any level who interacts with others can be a leader. Everyone has the choice of making each interaction either a positive one or a negative one. And when we choose the experience to be positive, it can be magic. And magic has been a big part of my life and my career. I didn't know when I moved to Hong Kong in 1997 that it would be the month, in fact, October, this month, that the entire currency market in Asia would collapse, spinning the region into complete turmoil for years ahead, and that I would have to run a retail business in chaos. I didn't know that when I joined HBC in 2008 in September, that in October of that year, we would dive into the worst worldwide recession since the Great Depression of the 1930s, and that it would affect every move that I would make as the company's CEO. No, there is absolutely no way that you can know what is ahead of you, what will stand in your way, or be a significant barrier to your success, or may even thwart your endeavors entirely. But you can dream big and start small. I started small with a big dream. I didn't start out with the advantages that many of you have here today in this room. I started my career on the very bottom rung of the ladder. But maybe because of a little magic in my life, I have only ever applied for one job, my first job. And since that day, career move after career move have landed on my plate. I have never searched for new challenges. Those opportunities just appeared for me. Since a very early age, I love fashion. I decided to take any job I could get just to work in the fashion industry to learn about it. I chose the best store in Canada at that time, and when they advertised for a warehouse position, I was the first to line up. Before the internet, believe it or not, we actually lined up to apply for jobs. When I arrived at the company, the receptionist said, "Which job are you here for, the advertising assistant role or the warehouse?" I didn't know about the advertising job, but I quickly said, "Both." I said, "Can I apply for both?" And she led me to the advertising department, where I did finally get the job. But I waited hours to see the manager. During that time, one person in the department was on the floor wrapping signs in brown paper that were destined for stores for an upcoming sale event. So I got down and began wrapping signs. It seemed endless. There were dozens of piles, and finally the advertising manager came in, and seeing me already hard at work, she recognized right away that I was a team player and probably a good worker, and that no job would be beneath me because I'd already been working there for hours, literally on my hands and knees on the floor, and I wasn't even on the payroll. So I hope that you too are prepared to not just put in the expected or paid for time, but you have to put in the overtime and the weekends and whatever else it will take to get noticed and to be appreciated. With luck, you will work about 25 years. With great fortune, you may be able to work 40 years. And it will go by in a flash because you will absolutely get far more out of it than you ever imagined. It's really important to put in the hours and to remember that every job allows you to practice skills of engagement and enthusiasm and dedication. And those are the traits that will set you apart. I think it's also important to align your integrity with the company, to work for a company that shares your values and your goals, because your heart and your head need to be in sync, meaning your work has to be aligned with both your ego gratification and also your soul. It's been proven that women more than men don't stay in roles where their heart and their head are not both fulfilled. Women also are entering the workforce at an amazing time. I'm so thrilled to see so many female faces in the audience today. And we're cracking that so-called glass ceiling of companies in every field, from natural resources to manufacturing of cars, banking, technology. Areas that were formerly the domain of men only are now completely open to women. And we must ensure that this is the century that will witness women rising around the world in countries where they have been oppressed since the first millennium. It is unthinkable that in 2014, we live in a world where hundreds of young girls were abducted in Nigeria just a few months ago, and in a world where thousands of wives and daughters in Iraq were recently taken from their families, all of these women and girls taken to be sold or traded into sex slavery. We absolutely have a responsibility to make this the century for the abolishment of oppression of women and towards their empowerment around the world. Hillary Clinton said it best when she said, "Women are the unfinished business of the 20th century." So now, just before closing, I'd like to share one of my little life's lessons with you, and one I think you can benefit from if you practice it. One day while I was in Hong Kong, my boss, the owner of the Lane Crawford Group, which was the largest retail group in China and the Far East at that time, called me on the telephone and asked, he said, if he could convince his daughter to come back to Hong Kong. She had just graduated from Wellesley in Boston. Could she shadow me for 6 months? And I said, sure. And then I hung up the phone thinking, what exactly does shadow mean? Wow. But she'll be with me all the time. Well, it turned into many exciting and rewarding years of working together. And during the early years, we had the benefit of hiring the best strategists and coaches. And together we built a sort of a mini MBA for her, which put some of the processes that I've used all my life into a formal format. One thing we practiced regularly in this mentoring program was crafting a vision. Crafting the vision requires some dreaming. And over the years, my mantra for everything in my life has been this one line: if you can dream it, you can do it. Dreaming is the part of the work that I love the most. Crafting a vision means dreaming of the outcome. It's creating something in the future that will manifest in reaching the goals of the company. What do we want it to be? What will success look like? How will it feel? How will the company behave differently down the road in its future state? I love the creative visioning process because it requires us to be innovative and to stretch, to paint a picture of a castle in the sky that we're heading towards, that we can paint so clearly the management team will want it even more than we want it. And that team must be able to visualize it for themselves and their personal role in it. And your vision, your castle, needs to have some kind of competitive advantage. I often ask, what's the company's compelling competitive advantage when I join a board or attend a strategic meeting? And many CEOs and leaders actually can't articulate their company's competitive advantages because some don't have any. But like companies, individuals too need clarity of their mission and their vision. Believe me, I am living proof that you can make your dreams, your vision, happen. It's a little like magic. I wish you many years of magic making ahead, and if you practice and work at visualizing and planning your desired outcome, I guarantee you your dreams can come true. Thank you.